书会还有3分钟就要开始了。那请大家一样的要保持安静，在读书会开始的时候呢，请大家一定要保持安静，谢谢大家的合作。各位上师、教授师、法师、上帝大德以及网络直播线上的各级弘法人员及同仁，大家午安，大家好。
Masters, Senior Reverends, Reverends, and all the attendants here today and over the webcast. Today we has invited Master Si Nian Wang to give us a Dharma talk in this book reading program. Once again, we welcome him to give us a talk. It's Grandmaster's Golden Verse, the Golden Proverb. Right again, we'd like to listen to his Dharma talk in sharing with us from reading Grandmaster book. So right now, first of all, we need to pay homage to Grandmaster Living Buddha Lian-Sheng and our lineage Buddha and all the deities in the shrines, masters, reverends, Dharma brothers and sisters, and over the webcast. Good afternoon. I'm going to share with you the second chapter. This is talk about the joy, the painful, the pain, joy. This is the main point here is talk about life. And this is a very important chapter. And then in fact, it's strongly related to us, the joy of pain. I believe that since our birth the older you get, then you have experienced a lot of the pain, the joy of pain. And it's very hard to express it, but everybody have their own experience, and everybody have a different experience, different experiences. It doesn't matter to what extent, big or small, but you have this kind of really very intense, personal, the pain of joy. Not only that, in fact, this feeling, this sensations, you will feel it every day. You will feel the pain and joy. It doesn't matter what environment you're at. You will continue to have these feelings unless you're unconscious. Otherwise, you will feel the pain and joy. Now, we talk about the pain. What makes you suffer? There's too many incidents and too many happenings, too many occurrences. And watching the news, there's a 2-year-old young boy. Every time when the child misbehave and lock him into the washroom, and the child suffocated and died in the washroom because the child, it's covered with, and in fact this child, it's covered human waste, and then there's no food in his stomach. There's not one bit of reserve food in his body. This child, it's died from famine, from hunger, and in fact, this child, no food for 1 whole week. And this is such the human great suffering. And the child is just 2 years old, cannot speak very much. How can a child be able to bear this kind of suffering, this kind of torture? But this happened not only to this child, it happened continuously to different people around the world. And there's 8 suffering in this world, according to Shakyamuni Buddha. And then life of separations, life of togetherness, life and death, aging and sickness. And then you suffer from discontentment, your wish are not fulfilling. This happened to everyone. And now talk about life and birth, age, and sickness. Now talk about sickness. Now Grandmaster yesterday had asked, since birth, have anyone never experienced sickness? A sickness from getting a flu. Nobody put their hand up. And we suffer the 5 senses, your body. Now I'm explaining one by one. Why thinking give you suffering? And let me give you an example. And then when you have feelings, thinking, when you have someone say something to you, you rerun the thought over and over again in your mind. If you have a curled, and whatever people say to you, make your heart feel sick, you think it over and over again, 100 times, 1,000 times, or 10,000 times. Because it's overthinking the unpleasant situations over and over again, and you suffer from it. This is what we call this, the pain of your senses. I don't have depressions, but depression is come from what's inside your heart, because they cannot be able to handle all the pressure, or it could be from the outside, and feeling that people, it's taking advantage of this person, not well treated, and because thinking over and over again, you get so depressed, and it affects this person, even loses appetite, not willing to eat, and this person will not be able to feel happy. It doesn't matter. In fact, there's no joy from anyone, anything that in his surrounding, in his or her surrounding. This is the suffering from depressions. And in suffering, and it talk about the truth of suffering. In fact, we experience it over again often. But a lot of people try to chase after, try to attain happiness because life is full of suffering. That's why they want to make a change. But in Buddhism, even happiness is not really the true happiness. Why do I say that? Let's explain this. Because nothing is permanent. It's not forever. Joy is not forever. Like today, you sit in your chair, you feel really comfortable. But after 1 hour, you don't feel comfortable anymore in your chair. It's the same. You're looking at with the same attitude. Look at your friend. Looks like they are all very happy. When you with your good friend. But I tell you, because you will be departed with a person you like, so you feel suffering. So you should seize happiness, not the real happiness. You look at it, it's not the true happiness. You can say almost. You can say the fake happiness because it's not permanent. Because so Buddhism often emphasizes and reminding us everything in life is impermanent. All your surrounding, everything that happened is all impermanent. In the suffering, the Shakyamuni taught us, and this is how Grandmaster explained it. And then in my whole life, I can explain joy and pain. And this is the universal truth. Lead me to this is through my enlightenment, I can understand this. Understand the happiness and joy. And how do you attain joy in pain? How? You must go through a lot of training from your life experience to attain, you have joy from your pain. Remember when you were in school, study in the philosophy of Mengzi. In your midst of practice, so how do you use all your daily activity to able to attain achievement? But you need to go through a lot of training, grinding, and learning in Mengzi. listen to his golden verses. He teaches you how to be able to reach your goal and to live out the idealistic life. Doesn't matter that looking angle in a layman in your daily life or a Buddha in Buddhism. You will get trained from the heaven. If you have responsibility, if the heaven want to train you to ability to help others, to understand the truth of life, so you will experience that you do not have enough resources. You will taste a lot of bitterness in your life, and then everything you do, you have to go through a lot of hardship. And everything that you want to do, but seems to be your heart wants to, but you cannot have the achievement. But all this become a motive for you to have determinations, to want to have the strength to have the ability to overcome difficulties, so they be able to have the desire and determination to attain the real goal in life. Then you be able to hone your skills to be able to contribute to society, to others. And Grandmasters in his teaching mentioned so many examples, and Grandmaster explained the pain in suffering in life very clearly. I want to explain to you in a simple form. Where is the pain coming from? Become myself, you and me. But the pain of it's from myself, because we all want to desire to attain happiness. And once you're born, you start to know how to think. You know how to contemplate. When you're suffering from physical pain or in health, you go see a doctor, and then you want to study medicine to want to find out why the body will have sickness. How do you improve your body structures coordinated with your nutrients and exercise? And then you gotta know that where you're supposed to avoid the situation, or what you eat, where you go, to minimize your pain, and then you will be able to turn around to have good health. Now I'll talk about the spiritual side. This is more difficult. I just mentioned it. You keep thinking and thinking, all the unhappiness. So let yourself feeling very sentimental, and then if you do that, this is a big problem. If your life is good, you have a lot of good memories, a lot of support from your good friends, some buddies, then you can, and then very naturally, people would think a lot of good memories to dissolve the suffering they have right now. And then, or people think that if you are Buddhist, you think of all the Buddha Bodhisattvas are with you and be able to subside your pain. Or the elderly, same thing. They would the pain from the inside. If it's because it starts from yourself, because you inflict this pain on yourself, and you. And then, in fact, how do you overcome the pain inside your heart? How do you control your heart not to think of negative things? And then how do you stop yourself from not thinking? But it's really funny, I don't know why we always have negative thoughts in mind. It's like it comes down on you so unpredictably, and you have no control you cannot control over it. So how do you override this problem? Cultivation. That's only way. And then because when you, in these unpleasant situations, we run forward to brings you down, and it so makes you that will sink you down if you don't know how to control it. But when you practice the Dharma, there's a lot of Dharma joy. There's just like you learn how to ride a bike. When you first learn how to ride a bike, it's so hard to control the bike. You will fall and you will, and in fact, that's. And because you know how to balance, but once you know how to ride the bike, then you start to be able to relax. You be able to ride in the wind, and it's a really nice sensation. But I'm telling you, you can you just relax riding a bike, enjoy the breeze. That was in the past though, but now you cannot ride your bike without forward tension. This and in fact, through Dharma practice, you will have so many different joy. But in the beginning, it's hard because you cannot be able to focus. There's so many thoughts comes into you. So this is up to your persevere, and then you have to be determined to overcome, to be able to focus, so you'll be able to enjoy the Dharma joy. But if someone inflicts this pain on you, this is more complicated. This person dislikes you. Then what do? Then you try to find out where did I make the mistake. And because maybe your work, you didn't complete the job well enough to make other people feel comfortable. Or it could be just person relationship. Whatever you did, somehow you triggered the obstacles in relationships. So you got to know where do you make the mistake that inflicted this pain upon you with the person relationship. But maybe you through observation you didn't see anything wrong, that you have done the best you can, but still did not improve people relationship between you and the other person. Then you can understand this is karma. And it because the thing you have done in the past, this is why you feel it. So, and then you have to understand everything happened today because from the past. All situations. But you have done everything well. But people still not treat you well. So this become, you learn from this experience, you're learning yourself. Then you need to learn how to keep doing things. You should keep alerting yourself that you need to be able to contribute more. So if you the willingness to help others, then therefore you will build relationship. Unless you have done everything well, so the person will have changes. But if because of past experience in the past life, the karma, and then when you meet up and you have really, really bad relationship or unpleasant situations, then and in this life, when you're together, you do not know how to fix this karma ties. Then this suffering will keep on going. Now, you can also, with your own experience, when you see someone suffering, then you try to help others. You see, you don't have a lot of money to help others. You don't have to do hard laboring. But as long as you do the best you can to make other people's situations better, and more pleasant, more happy. And I think if you can do that, for sure you will experience joy. And when we practice bodhicitta, it doesn't matter how you conduct, you will still have positive feedback. So when you have pain, you try your very best to contribute. Use the type. In fact, try to do more good deeds, the best you can from your limited time. Just like Grandmaster often said, try to put sentient beings before you. Put yourself second place. But how many people have this type of thinking? But Grandmasters teach us bodhicitta, how to be a bodhisattva. Not too many people think like that. Most people put themselves before someone else, but Grandmaster is different. Always put sentient beings before him. He is always a second position. But this is our goal. Because Grandmaster have this type of philosophy in life, that's why he be able to turn all pain into joy and happiness. And this is why Grandmaster is a Buddha. In the Lotus Path Enlightenment Sutra, I'll read you a part of it because it's a long sutra. Talk about the bodhisattva feels suffering when see people in suffering. Now I ask you, when you read the sutra or listen to Grandmaster talk, know that people, sentient beings are in a reincarnation wheel. Do you feel pain and compassion and pain for the sentient being? If you do, then congratulations, because you have a soft heart. And then, in fact, you have the same channel as a bodhisattva. If you have no pain if you do not feel pain and suffering when you see someone else is less fortunate, then you must learn. I'm not telling how the bodhisattva help us not crying. They go into deep meditations. And they understand. Going deep meditations, they will see life, the truth in life, that sentient beings have a lot of pain and suffering. So when they feel the sentient beings, the deep pain and suffering, naturally, the bodhisattva will come forward. The compassion in their heart will come forward. And now, everyone live a very separate life, their own individual room. So we don't have interreactions, not like people in the old days. They are farmers. Everything is a group activity. So therefore, they will have more. They'll be more contentive to people around them. Now the bodhisattva, because they can feel the sentience being pain from the heart, when they in meditation, in the deep focus, they can feel the pain of suffering of the sentient being. Naturally, the compassion come forward. And then, in fact, and the bodhisattva, how do they handle pain? They feel the pain, but they're not afraid of feeling the pain. And in fact, they will practice diligently to help others. They be able to sustain all the suffering. Then how did they evolve in the state of suffering? They do not submerge in the suffering and to be diligent. And how do they do that? because understand the void. Because when you can go into emptiness and void, then what happens? You can drop the self. When you have no self, then you will be able to let go of the suffering. Because when you feel the suffering, then what happens? We focus on it. And you focus, and then at the end, you destroy yourself from sadness. But when life is full of smooth and joy, and then you not because you're self-joy and you not have sympathy for others, understand for others. So, but in the Bodhisattva, when they, how did they stop pain? It's by stop the cessations, and they're submerging into the light of emptiness. So, in the act of Bodhisattva, they will, because they understand, because they're feeling the sentient beings' pain, they can feel it, but they know how to be able to control their emotion to enter into the ocean of void, the stillness. So so you gotta learn how to enter into meditations. Because when you're in meditation, you understand self, you understand emptiness. Then then wisdom will come forward. Then you know how to balance everything. You know how to deal with all this emotion. But how do you understand the teaching of emptiness, void, selflessness, wisdoms? How do you attain wisdom from stability? Through meditation. When you meditations, when you have meditation, a lot of thoughts keep coming forward, but you'll be able to control not to. Then when you can do that, you can. The minute you stop your thought, then everything will become empty. You can override and transform everything and all the suffering into emptiness. And this, if you can understand, it will congratulate you. And how can Bodhisattva the Bodhisattva be able to keep that? How do you keep that joy and peace and tranquility? And the Bodhisattva, how do they maintain that stillness? I don't want you to think it's very difficult. I want you to practice. And in fact, don't underestimate yourself. Look, you always still look. Since you're born, you've experienced pain and also suffering. So how do you deal with it? Because you cannot free yourself from joy and happiness. So then how do you attain to be tranquility? How do you stop yourself to be trapped? How? So there's no other way to liberate yourself. Only by meditation, learning Buddhism. I tell you, but some people looking for joy, they will look for joy using. And in fact, they will do a lot of unwholesome deed to have happiness. That's not good. In fact, if you do anything unwholesome deed, you change your faith. in fact, your health become decline. You will feel the retribution from your own karma. You might even reborn in a very bad place. So your environment will also change. So please do not go for temporary happiness to commit unwholesome deed. Now, in this book, tell you how to attain. I want to do a summary. Whole life is you feel pain and suffering. You cannot free yourself from it. So how do you solve this problem? Well, study to cultivate Buddhism. It's not easy, but you have to do it. So that's why Grandmaster teaches how to practice true Buddha Dharma. And in fact, if you are very diligent to practice, you will experience a lot of Dharma joy. And then you will be able to move forward. And in fact, how do you, but nothing, it's a fast fix. So what do? You read Grandmaster book, watch Grandmaster video, using Grandmaster's teaching as wisdom to help you to be able to deal with all the difficulties, to deal with all the suffering. Then you would be able to maintain yourself in the wisdom of the Buddha, the light. You can walk through your life with the Buddha's light. That's very important. I hope that everyone be able to understand. Then through this chapter, I hope that all of you have more faith in Buddhism and to put yourself into the Buddha and Bodhisattva's hand to help you to override the suffering. We're really grateful to Master Nan Wang for his teaching. And next week, we will invite Master Nan Chuan, 154th, the book 154th, I call the Wisdom Aura.